All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to week 2 of Mostly Baseball Mondays. Um, yes, it is not Monday, but we mostly talk about baseball and we mostly do this show on Mondays, so it works. It works for both ways. As always, I'm joined by my buddy Sammy Needs.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Oh, not too much. Been a crazy week, but I'm happy to sit down and talk about baseball for a half an hour. So
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and Game of Thrones, of course. So
Of course.
we'll jump into it here. Kind of interesting week in the league. So we'll kind of jump into the matchups. We'll go one by one. Kind of go talk about them. So here we got the matchup number one. Konerko gets Kuntz. It's my team. Beat Bunched Panties 380.44 to 281.06. My top hitter was JT Realmuto. Popped off for 43 points. Very high scoring for a catcher, especially. Top starting pitcher Luis Castillo has been awesome this year, 42.5. Top reliever Brad Hand, 22.31. Bunch Panties top hitter, the controversial this week, Tim Anderson with 36.5. Top starting pitcher Tyler Mahle with 21.94. And then top reliever with Reyes Moranta, who admittedly the first time I've ever heard of him was whenever I was putting his name on this slide with 19.41. So yeah, and not a terribly surprising matchup. Bunch of Panties is not a competitive team at this point, but got the
Yeah,
job
I
done.
think I think a small surprise here is the 99 point margin with DeGrom getting a goose egg. Obviously getting, hurt or what they thought was hurt and now is apparently fine and throwing again.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second because this is so Mets, right? Like, so Mets pitchers have always historically been hurt a lot. The Mets have never handled the injuries well. So, I'm thinking, all right, Jacob DeGrom goes on 10-day IL, MRI to come. Okay, great. Like, Mets say, we're not really worried about it. It's fine. But it's the Mets. So I'm thinking, like, he's getting Tommy John. He's out for the year. Next
mhm.
day, they say, oh, no, he played catch today. He doesn't even need an MRI. I'm like, what? Like, what even does that mean? What is happening here?
No, yeah, something doesn't make sense. A pitcher doesn't complain of a barking elbow and it's fine the next day. That just doesn't work. Um, I don't know exactly what's going on. I would either it was never that bad or there's still, some cause for concern. Um, because for someone like DeGrom, who I don't think has had many past injury problems to complain of a barking elbow and then the next day be fine. Something is curious about this situation to me.
Yeah, it's very Mets.
Yeah,
It's so Mets. Like that's just all you need to say, and it makes sense when you put it that way.
yeah, absolutely. Outside of that, no real surprises here. I mean, just a pretty standard matchup, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll go to matchup number 2 here. We've got Judge Freddy's Hugs and Long Island Iced Tea Hands. Judge Freddy's Hugs takes it. Uh, Fairly low scoring matchup between both of them. Wins with 360.92. Did have Jock Peterson have 42. Patrick Corbin go for 31.48. And Aroldis Chapman go for 16.81. Long Island Iced Tea Hands did have Andrew McCutcheon go for 31.5. Cole Hamels go for 31.1. And Ken Giles go for 31.74. All in 31s. But outside of that, not a whole lot going for them this week. As expected, this team's just not that good. Had some good weeks from a few people, but just pretty straightforward here. Not a lot to.
Yeah, and I don't hate the lineup that the Long Island Ice Tans have. I mean, he's got Justin Turner in here. Adamus is young and good. Peraza's still pretty young. Um, McCutcheon has actually been good. But I mean, Turner only 13 and a half. Castellanos 18. Bradley Jr. 9. I mean, for the most part, his offense is just underperforming, which I'm sure he doesn't mind. I know he's trying to rebuild and gather up some picks and stuff like that. But it's still interesting that it's really not a terrible lineup.
Sure. Yeah. When you have four offensive players, and granted this is partially due to injury, you have four offensive players combined for 26 points. You're not going to win a lot of weeks, and that would be Mejia, who only had 6 ABs, Peraza, Jackie Bradley Jr., and then Brandon Nimmo, who had 9 ABs. And then in those 9 ABs, he did have a home run and 5 walks. But yeah. So we will. Is there anything?
One quick note.
Yeah.
Sale still struggling. And I don't exactly know what Garrett Cole has done up until this point, but he had 1.07 points in his only start with 8 earned over a 4 1/3. So,
actually quite impressive that he still went positive. Did have 8 strikeouts.
yeah, very, very handy, I would say. To risk going negative, but those are two guys that I definitely flag down for the low scoring from him because his offense was very good.
For sure, Jock Peterson's been awesome. Does lose Aaron Judge now? I forget how long is he out? I mean, I know he's on the IL, but I don't. Do we have
it just says
timetable?
The 10-day IL with a pretty significant strain.
So yeah, it looks like he's definitely going to be missing some time. So not great for Judge Freddie's Hugs. Definitely needs to get his aces going if he wants to beat some more of the powerhouse teams in the league. Was able to get away with it this week and still win by a pretty handy margin. But he's not going to beat a lot of the better teams with pitching performances like that.
Yeah.
From his best pitchers. He did have Patrick Corbin go for 31, Mike Minor go for 31. So that helped, but his other 3 starting pitchers went for about 11 points. So
yeah.
So we'll move on to Mookie Monsters, your team, and Surprise Tigers. So for your team, we got Bryce Harper at 34.5, Dylan Bundy at 21.27, Edwin Diaz at 20.97. And then for Surprise Tigers, we got Javi Baez at 39.5, Cole Hamels at 56.02, and Ken Giles at 35.72. Overall, just really, really solid performance from Surprise Tigers here. 400-point weeks are always a good week in this league. 500-point weeks are possible, and those are elite. But 400 wins most of the time. And he had several guys in the 30-point range, nearing 40, and obviously Strasburg over 50. That's going to get the job done a lot of weeks. Looking at your team, once again, the pitching is not quite where I'm sure you want it to be.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at the lineups, like you said, he had Javi, that went off, and my lowest score had 20, and then highest was 34. So a pretty consistent lineup, but yeah, the pitching is and will probably continue to be a pretty significant area for improvement. While his was very good, bullpen was pretty solid. Barnes with 21 points just with 3 innings of work.
Hmm.
So
It's impressive. That's
yeah,
also with 2 blown saves. My goodness. Seven
yeah,
strikeouts in 3 innings. That'll help. Wow, that's actually really impressive. Okay. So yeah, pretty healthy margin of victory in that one.
hmm
You know, if your pitching does not go mostly negative, or not saying negative, but you know, you had Bundy go for 21 and Scherzer go for 12, but the other 3 looks like about -1 combined. You know,
yeah.
if they go for what they should, it becomes quite a bit closer. But Surprise Tigers had a good week for sure.
Right. And Roberto Osuna didn't pitch at all, and I'm not exactly sure why. He's healthy. He pitched last night, I think, but just just didn't get an appearance all week.
You know, that is weird. You know,
Yeah.
usually they'll go. They won't extend a pitcher that long without throwing them, even if it's not a save situation. You know,
Mhm.
they'll throw him in just to get some work. But wow.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on to the 4th one here. Highest score of the week. This week we've got Old Dogs, who's officially back to Old Dogs after last week. So 483.18 points. Takes down Wizard of Oz, who had a really solid week himself with 390.22. Let's see, we had Justin Smoke at 50.5. James Paxton 81.81 points. Just a dominant week for James Paxton over his 2 starts. Had Shane Green at 23.96 out of the bullpen. And for Wizard of Oz, we had Christian Yelich, who continues to absolutely mash the ball in Miller Park. You know, pretty easy place to hit. I think I could hit a home run out there, but you know, I've been told that. Top starting pitcher for Wizard of Oz, we had Justin Verlander with 25.6 over his start. Had 7 innings, 1 earned, 8 strikeouts. Pretty solid start there. And then top reliever was Wade Davis, my former Royal, former back end of the bullpen there. You know, like I said, solid week from Wizard of Oz. It wasn't enough. Blake Snell with a 0 getting hurt early in the week is a killer, but I mean, you look up and down this Old Dogs lineup, it is just lots of high digits.
Yeah. You know, for Wizard of Oz, he he just got pretty unlucky. You know, he knows it. It feels like, bad luck after bad luck. Yelich got 73 points with 8 home runs in 1 week. That's nuts. But, like you said, Snell with nothing, Paxton with an incredible week, and, every pitcher in his lineup getting at least 20. Solid pitching from the bullpen. 50 from Justin Smoke. I didn't even know he had Justin Smoke. Like,
right. To be honest, I didn't
lineup.
either. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know Justin Smoke was even on a team this year.
No.
And
So
then he goes off for
yeah.
50.
Yeah. So, good week from Wizard of Oz, just a better week from Old Dogs, really.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm trying to see here. Who did he start at first base the week prior? Okay, still. All right, no, that was week 3. Yeah, no, he's been starting Justin Smoke the entire season.
Okay,
Guess
so I mean that's his first baseman.
yeah, that's a thing. Okay, good to know. But yeah, I mean, it just not much else to say than a absolute ton of bad luck for Wizard of Oz. You know, in the injury bug, and it's not just the injury bug with him. It's the weird injury bug. You know, it just continues to plague him, and it's weird. I don't know.
And it has for as long as we've had this league. It's not just, this year, from Mad Bum getting into a dirt bike accident to now Blake Snell, tripping as he's getting out of the shower. Like, only to Wizard of Oz at this point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and if we had this league as long ago, you know, when Zach Greinke got hurt playing basketball, like, he would have owned Zach Greinke when he got hurt playing basketball. Like, it's just how it's going for Wizard of Oz right now. You know, he's just not getting very lucky.
No, he should have picked up Brian Flynn when he fell through his barn.
That's very true. That it would have been a very fitting player for him. You know, he's still 2-1. He can't complain too much. I would say he's third in the league in scoring. I think he'll be all right. But just some bad luck, especially this week. All right, and then we'll move to the fifth and final matchup of the week. See, number one in power rankings last week, Trust the Process, taking on Slump Busters. Another one of those quote-unquote tanking teams, rebuilding, however you'd like to say that. Pretty straightforward here. Trust the Process wins 418.47 to 296.09. As I said, 400 is going to win you most weeks, and it does so here, especially when your opponent doesn't even touch 300. Slump Busters top hitter Pete Alonso, 29.5, just continues to hit the ball well as a rookie. It's really been cool to see. Top starting pitcher Kyle Hendricks with 37.08. Is that over 2 starts? I believe so. No, actually just over 1 start, 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts for Kyle Hendricks. That's impressive, especially for a guy who typically does not strike that many people out. And the top reliever, Jose Alvarado at 17.97. Trust the Process had top hitter Eddie Rosario at 49.5. Joey Lucchesi, 25.81, and then Hector Neris at 33.72. Pretty big offensive week for Trust the Process here. Lots of guys in the upper 30s to 40s. Just really, really impressive. And you got Cody Bellinger still in there. Yeah, Trevor Story went off. George Springer went off.
Yeah, this team honestly probably continues to be one of my favorite teams thus far. With how well he's been doing, like you said, offense was great. He had 2 in the 40s, 2 in the 30s, and then the rest, was just solid. Pitching was fine. Nothing that really hurt him in any way. But yeah, the offense was definitely the highlight for him this week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then same old story for Slump Busters. They did have Cody Allen go negative out of the bullpen, but just not a lot of offensive firepower here. We've got some good young players here, like Pete Alonso has played really well. Gleyber Torres, Corey Seager, Eloy Jimenez, Walker Buehler got it together this week finally. 6 1/3, 8 strikeouts. Does have Tyler Glasnow as well, but just not quite the depth to that talent as some of these other teams. So just not going to start winning yet, but he does have a bright future. So with a lot of these guys.
Yep, I would agree.
All right, so looking, we'll just take a quick peek at the matchups that we've got going on this week. Kind of highlight some of these matchups. We have my team, Canerco, gets Kuntz facing Surprise Tigers. That's I believe we're in the same division. I believe it's a interdivisional battle there. It is 3-0 myself versus 2-1 Surprise Tigers. Pretty good matchup there, and it's pretty close so far. I won't give any spoilers to the score of that one or any of these. We do have Judge Freddy's Hugs against Old Dogs this week. Old Dogs, obviously the leading scorer last week against the two-time champion Judge Freddy's Hugs. We've actually got a battle of the tanking teams. So this should be an interesting one. Long Island Iced Tea Hands facing Slump Busters. We've got Trust the Process, who has been on a tear, facing Bunched Panties. And then you, Mookie Monsters, are playing Wizard of Oz this week. So we've got some very intriguing matchups. If I had to pick a matchup of the week, it's definitely going to be the tanking teams, though, just to see who can out-tank the other.
Yeah. This is typically where one of them gets, one of their few wins this year is against each other. So
for sure.
Yeah. We'll just kind of see what how that one goes.
Yeah, so we'll move in and we'll just check out our standings. So as you see here, we've got the National and American League. National League, we've got a three-way tie at 2-1. Trust the Process holding the tiebreaker there in points, followed by Mookie Monsters and Judge Freddy's Hugs. Old Dogs sits at 1-2, but maybe getting hot after leading the league in scoring last week. And then Long Island Iced Tea Hands 0-3, last in the league in scoring. In American League, I got myself at 3-0, Wizard of Oz and Surprise Tigers at 2-1. Then Bunch Panties 1-2, Slump Busters 0-3. You notice here the score margin between Slump Busters and Bunch Panties not terribly far. 81 points over 3 weeks. So whether that says more about Bunch of Panties team or Slump Busters team, that's up to you to decide, but maybe what it does tell me is that there's a pretty clear gap between the 10th team and the 9th team in the league. You've got nearly a 200 point margin between Slump Busters and Long Island Iced Tea Hands over 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we, unless you've got anything else on fantasy, we can move into real life baseball. Kind of go over some of the standings and kind of what we're thinking about the league.
Yeah. To start that off, just got a notification that Zach Wheeler is the first pitcher to join the 100-100 club this year by throwing a 100-mile-per-hour pitch and hitting a ball 100 miles per hour. So I thought that was very interesting.
That's a great stat.
Yeah.
Wow. To be honest, I didn't know he threw that hard.
I knew that he could before elbow surgery, but I didn't know he could run it up that high still.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. All right, so we'll just kind of run down the list of standings here. Actually, I'm going to try this. Sweet. All right. Well, AL West is kind of cut off at the bottom, but it'll be fine. So AL East, we've got the Rays, still continuing to play very well. I guess 5-5 over their last 10, but still sitting atop of that division, 15-8. They're playing my Royals right now. They're up like 4-0. So look to get another win there. Yankees have played well over their last 10, 7-3, to get to 12-10. Jays have also played well. over the last 10. Red Sox are still just kind of middling there. And then the Orioles are just not good. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, Red Sox have been fine over the last 10, but I mean they need better than that after their slow start. Um, Contrary to the Rays 5-5, which is completely fine because of their hot start, and they sit at the top still, with just a average week, while the Red Sox with an average week are still 5 games below 500 and fourth in their division.
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt. I like that you brought that up. A hot start can let you play a little bit worse later on and not kill you, but the Red Sox really need to pick it up if they want to get into this quickly. And it's still a long season left, but every game counts. With game 10 and game 150 count the same in the standings. So wins are wins. So we'll move on to the AL Central. Clearly far and away the best division in baseball. Sarcasm font. So you got the Twins sitting at the top. Have played well over the last 10, 7-3, sitting 13-7 overall. Cleveland 12-10, Detroit 11-10, White Sox 9-12, Royals 7-16. There's not a lot to say about this division. It's just not very good. Even Cleveland, who I think is probably still the best team in that division, is not. They're not how they were in 2016. They're just not that good anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I think the Twins could end up coming out and winning that division just because of how bad the other three teams are. I mean, you got Detroit at 11-10, but I still don't think they're that good. So I could see Minnesota or Cleveland winning that division. Wouldn't surprise me either way, but I couldn't see either of them making a run into the playoffs, deep into the playoffs.
No, I mean, I see either the Twins or Indians winning this division with, like 83, 84 wins. Just a little above 500 is going to do it for this division. I think the Tigers probably slip under 500. I mean, they're already 4-6, and then the last 10, they'll probably finish under 500, as will probably the White Sox and the Royals, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, there's really just not a lot to say about that division. It's very, very mediocre to poor, honestly. So probably the most intriguing division in baseball right now. My favorite to watch this season has been the AL West. The Mariners, 16-9 after 3-7 in their last 10. Hot on their heels. The Astros 13-9, 6-4 in their last 10. The Rangers have played really well, sitting 12-9, 7-3 in their last 10. The A's 12-13, and then the Angels. Surprise, surprise! The Angels still not very good, even though Mike Trout is the best player in the world. The Mariners, after their scorching hot start, they're starting to fall back to the pack. Astros are gaining, Rangers are gaining. I'm not sure how I feel about the Rangers. I don't think that they're a top 2 team in this division. I think that they're reasonably could be considered third. I still think the A's are probably better than them, but they've had an okay start.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what is going right for the Rangers. I have no idea who's playing well or who's playing bad. But I mean, I never thought that they would be, a seller team. But yeah, I mean, they've had a pretty good start. Yeah, I still think the A's are better. As the season goes on, I think you'll probably see that, and then you'll see the Astros leapfrog the Mariners. I don't see anything crazy happening in this division. I know the Mariners are already on top, but I just can't bring myself to tell you that they're going to win or even make a push for a wild card spot. So I think the A's could do that right behind the Astros.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. So we'll just pop over to the NL. Very close division race in the NL East here. Got the Mets currently on top, and actually, it's over the last 10 games there has been 0 changes in the standings because everyone has gone 4-6. So you got Mets 12-10, Phillies 12-10, Braves 11-10, Nationals 10-11, and the Marlins at 7-16. Not much different than what I said last week. Any of the 4 I think can win the division. I like the Phillies to come out of there the most, but I don't think any of the 4 would necessarily surprise me.
No, and I can't really think of much to say either. Nothing has changed. I think the Braves have to figure out their starting rotation, and if they can sooner than later, then yeah, I think they make a big push. I mean, we've been saying for years if the Mets would just get their starting rotation right, that they could, win the division, and they made some good moves this offseason, and it's a possibility. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's still so early, and they're still so close that um, yeah, it's still anyone's except the Marlins in that division.
For sure. And maybe over one of these weeks you'll see a team, go on a big winning streak, maybe go 8-2, 9-1 in a week, and kind of pull away,
Yeah,
for at least that time being. But for now, when literally everyone goes 4-6 over their last 10, there's no real changes in what you're seeing as far as the standings go. So, gonna make for a very intriguing race, but to this point, there's not much to say about it.
no,
So we'll go NL Central. You got the Pirates leading the way at 12-8, followed by the Cardinals at 13-9. Technically tied in the standings. Pirates do have 2 less games played. Brewers 13-11, a game back. Cubs have played well recently, better anyway. 10-10. Reds at 8-13. This is another very intriguing division to me. One that I think, similar to the AL West, that the best team is not leading the division. And I don't know who the best team is. I can't decide if it's the Brewers or if it's the Cardinals or if it's the Cubs. I don't think it's the Cubs, but I think the Cubs might be the most talented. I
yeah.
don't know. It's hard to pinpoint, but I'm pretty sure it's not the Pirates, and yet they're sitting in top division 20 games in.
Yeah, and I mean, the Pirates continue to play well, but trade away McCutchen last year, trade away Cole, and they were still fine last year, and then bring in Archer, and now 20 games in, they're at the top of the division. Um, I I think that the Cardinals and Brewers are probably going to have the tightest race when it comes down to it. Pretty surprised that the Brewers are 4-6, even with Yelich on pace to hit almost 100 home runs. But
Literally, yeah. What did we figure out? It was that was what, Saturday night. We figured he was on pace for about 93 home runs this season.
yeah, yeah.
Not bad. I think that would probably set a record, but I'd have to double check.
So yeah, Cubs. I think will continue to kind of hang out around 500. I mean, they are 7-3 in the last 10, but I, like I said last week, I think that they were obviously very good, top of the world, won the World Series, and haven't really done a whole lot since then to really distance themselves. Got Quintana, he's pitching well this year. Got Darvish. 2 seasons ago, I think, is not doing well. They, I mean, I think they'll just continue to hang out around an average team.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit higher on them than you are. I think they have the ability to compete and win this division. Will they? Who knows? But I think they have the talent still to do so. They just kind of got to get their heads into it. It seems like, and I don't think this is a bad team. Of course, they obviously have the ability to play well. It's just a matter of if they can do it on a consistent basis. And I don't know that they can, but I think that they're definitely. You got Bryant and Rizzo are two of the top players in that division, as it is. Javi Baez as well. So it's just a matter of if they can kind of put it all together for me.
Yeah.
So we move on. NL West. Quite possibly. Is this the largest margin? Tied for, I guess, the largest margin of games back, or however you would like to say that. So you got the Dodgers 15-9, Diamondbacks, Padres both at 12-11. Rockies starting to make a little bit of headway. 10-13, 7-3 in their last 10, and then the Giants at 9-14. Dodgers are winning this division, and you cannot convince me otherwise. I'm sorry. They're so good. Cody Bellinger's home run off of Josh Hader was insane. It was just ridiculous. Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich are the front runners for MVP. We'll see who can kind of continue that pace the longest, but the Dodgers are probably the best team in the National League right now. Any other team from this division is competing for one of the two wild card spots for me. Diamondbacks have been okay. Rockies, like I said, have started really poorly, but have played well over the last 10. So maybe they'll get up there. But yeah, it's the Dodgers, and then there's everyone else for me.
Yeah, I think when we do this next week, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Rockies, at least in third, maybe in second. They've played pretty well over the last 10 at 7-3. So I think and hope that they've put their slow start behind them and will kind of advance up the ladder in this division.
Yeah, for sure. I think getting David Dahl back has helped. Charlie Blackmon has played well over the weekend or so, especially. They're a very talented team. They've struggled at home. Had they not won at home last week, whenever we did this episode?
I thought that was right. I thought they were 0-5 at home.
They're now 4-6, so they're picking it up at home and they're winning ball games. So, not surprising there necessarily that they started playing significantly better at home. In the top, one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks, home field advantage.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah.
All right. Oh, actually, there's one thing that I forgot that we'll run through super fast. We'll just kind of give a brief rundown of the power rankings. So I'll do the number one. Number one offense this week power ranked was Judge Freddie's Hugs. Number one pitching, starting pitching rank this week was Old Dogs. Number one bullpen this week was Surprise Tigers. And then number one power ranked team this week was actually Surprise Tigers. Was Trust the Process last week, but now Surprise Tigers is taking the number one spot. Coming in right behind him is Trust the Process, followed by actually Old Dogs at number 3 there. Then you got Wizard of Haas, KGK. Then you're looking at Judge Freddy's Hugs, Long Island Iced Tea Hands. Then you've got Slump Busters, Mookie Monsters, and Bunched Panties coming in at 9 and 10. So definitely some interesting results here. There's a strictly all formula based. It's as far as positional rank that week, and then it takes some of last week's scores into account as well. But definitely not something we're used to seeing the Mookie Monsters 9th place in the Power Rankings.
Yeah, I mean, last week, I wouldn't say that I don't deserve to be there after last week, because, I mean, it makes sense. But got off to a pretty strong start this week, so hopefully we can, continue that out and jump up the rankings a little bit.
For sure. I'm not feeling super great sitting middle of the pack here. But 3-0 is 3-0, so I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Hopefully, I can keep winning games. Trust the process, and Surprise Tigers have both been pretty good this year. Old Dogs obviously is gonna be ranked pretty highly after being number 1 scorer in the league. So definitely interesting things to look at here, other than just the standings. Because at 3-0, one might think that I'm the number 1 power ranked team. The only team sitting 3-0, but that's not the case. I'm not even really near the top in the power rankings. So possible indicator of luck or what could happen in the future. Unless you have any other baseball related topics that you want to talk about, I think it's Thrones time.
Yeah, I'm all out of baseball.
All right, so this is my spoiler warning. Game of Thrones season 8 episode 2. If you haven't seen it, you can turn off the video now. So this is spoiler warning. I'm giving you a chance before we get into it. So yeah, season 8 episode 2. We've got 4 left. I'm not physically, mentally, or emotionally ready for these last 4 episodes. Not a ton this week. A lot of character stuff. A lot of last time we're seeing these character stuff. We're getting closure, I think, for a lot of these characters that have been around for a while, that are going to have their final goodbyes probably in the next episode.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it was a really good episode. A lot of really funny moments. I think Bran, we watched it together, and I about died laughing at when Bran said the things we do for love to Jaime.
Yeah.
Just so matter of factly in Bran's like creepy little way. It was just so good.
Yeah, and later on he was absolutely right. Jaime does no good to them dead. In the fight, they need every body they can for this fight, and telling them what Jaime did to him does nothing. Plus, I mean, I don't think Bran is upset at all where he's at. I think that led to him being, the Three-Eyed Raven, which is exactly where he was meant to be. So
yeah, without a doubt, and I think Bran kind of said that as well. Like Jamie wouldn't be where he's at if he hadn't done that. So I think all things considered, it worked out for the best, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a interesting callback. Another throwback to the early season, to the pilot even. Brienne getting knighted was awesome.
Yeah.
She's a great character for the show. I really like the dynamic of, it's pretty clearly like Jamie and Brienne's relationship now, and then there's like just Tormund there, being Tormund, talking about being 10 years old and sucking on the giant's wife's teat, and why he drinks giant's milk. It's just Tormund, but I love that dynamic, and I'm really, really scared that he's gonna die this week. Not scared, like I'm expecting him to.
I would. Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Yeah.
And that makes me sad, but at the same time, it makes the most sense that he will.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead in a sense of there would be some episodes where I'm like, wow, this character has a pretty big part in this episode. They're talking a lot, and then later that episode they would die. I'm like, oh well, it was the last time we saw them. That makes sense, and I think that is true in this whole episode. A lot of great Tormund moments. Probably, unfortunately, the last we will get of him. And there's some other characters that had some big moments, but kind of I'm iffy on whether it's the last time we get him or not. But
sure, I think there's a few characters that just simply are not gonna die this next week. They just carry the plot forward too much. I mean, Jon Snow, Daenerys, Arya's not gonna die. Sansa's not gonna die. It's just those type of characters carry the plot forward too much for them to die in this episode. That's not to say that they couldn't in later episodes, but those characters are going to be essential to the final three. But it's going to be your Grey Worms, your Davos, your Varys, the characters who are central to the story and have been central to the story for a long time, but you don't need for the final three episodes. Tyrion as well, I think, is safe for now. I'm not convinced that he... I have a theory about Tyrion that we'll get to in a second. But yeah, I think there's a set few that are not going to die, and everyone else is absolutely fair game. Very well could be an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, I'm on the fence for characters like Jamie, and Brienne. I think I had some others, but I thought it was interesting. So my teammate in MLE, Troubadour, huge fan, and actually created his own spreadsheet similar to the one like that you showed me and filled out, of Living Dead or Army of the Dead, and he brought up a quote that I had forgotten about. It says, if you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention, that Ramsay said. Don't know when he said it, but so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but, I mean it's George R.R. Martin, so like what?
Right. And you're right, there's 3 more episodes. Like, we talked about it. Are they just going to have White Walkers, marching around and, taking everything, and then they take King's Landing, and that's the next 3 episodes? Like, no, like, there's got to be some substance to the next 3.
Sure.
That there's a few locks that you mentioned that are safe, and then everyone else is pretty fair game, and then I think there's some pretty clear ones that will die, but we'll just see. They've surprised us pretty much every major episode thus far.
Yeah,
So
without a doubt there. So I do think I don't know when, because my theory, this is what I predicted in my little, like, I want to say bracket pool, but it's not a bracket, prediction pool, whatever. I predicted who kills the Night King. I predicted Jaime. He's gonna hold true to his Kingslayer title. However, I don't know that that's this episode because I don't know that the Night King is even gonna be there. I don't know. He's not. So this kind of goes into another point. Bran's plan is not gonna work. When in this show have you ever seen a plan from a Stark work?
Yeah, I think
It's the
I think
Stark
Bran
way.
dies. I think Bran probably sacrifices himself and dies, and they don't get the Night King out of it. They're gonna have to at some point. I think they're gonna have to, but that plan, no, that plan is not going to be the reason that they kill the Night King.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't see that plan working. It never goes how they expect it to anyway, whether it's a Stark plan or not. Also, back to Jaime. I've got like two predictions, and then I can like stop rambling. Jaime, I don't know when it was said, but I do know that it was said that Jaime will die in the arms of the woman he loves, and everybody's like, oh, it's Cersei. Has been more of a theory. I'm not going to take credit for it. That woman that he loves is not going to be Cersei. It's going to be Brienne. He is going to die in the arms of Brienne. However, if my Night King theory is not true, that could very well be in this episode. If not, it could be in a battle with Cersei. I can't imagine that there's not going to be any more Cersei Jaime payoff. I would just.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that would be just, I don't know, a disservice almost to not have Jaime march south to fight against his sister. I think that would be crazy, and then could end up dying in Brienne's arms there. But I think that's bound to happen. And then my Tyrion theory. So how in the episode Bran and Tyrion like sit down to talk, and Tyrion's like, tell me about like your story or whatever. And then there's not really, they don't show it. So what I think they talked about, also before I say that, and after the fact, Tyrion's like, I think we might all live, or I think we might make it, or we might win, or whatever he said. It's like, So I was like, what did they say? So my theory here is that Tyrion Lannister is a Targaryen. And I say that because, and once again, not my theory, I'm not taking credit for it, but so it is a well-known fact in book circles. They really haven't hinted at it in the show so much. That Aerys Targaryen, the Mad King, what like was after, so to speak, the Lannister mom. I don't know her name. Would have been Tywin's wife, Cersei, Jaime, Tyrion's mom. So my theory is that, and Tywin always hated Tyrion, so maybe he was aware of the fact that Tyrion was not his son. And another thing that goes along with this is the theory of Azor Ahai. There's 3 heads to the dragon. So there's Dany, Jon Snow, and Tyrion, all as Targaryens. They're the 3 heads of the dragon, so to speak. Also could be, it's theorized that it could be like Jon, Dany, and their kid. so if they have one.
Yeah.
But I think that it makes a lot of sense that Tyrion could be a Targaryen. You know, when he went down to feed the dragons or whatever, a couple seasons ago, the dragons responded very well to him, just like they did Jon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's I mean that's super super interesting to think about. Um, I don't know. I I wonder. Do you think that Bran knows how this battle is going to turn out? Like, do you think he knows what's going to happen? Like, if he goes out there, like, do you think he knows if he's going to live or die?
it's a very interesting question because the way I understand it, Bran can see like everything. Uh, I think everything that's like happened in the past. He
Yeah.
can see like everything that's happening in the present, and can see like limited into the future. I don't know. I don't understand or know what he can see into the future. Um, so like, if he's about to die, he can probably see it. But I don't think he knows well enough into the future. And obviously, he's making a plan um, that that he thinks is gonna work. So if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, then obviously like it's not like he could have seen in the future and like changed it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what he can see into the future. But yeah, I don't. Bran is definitely going to be a key to this whole defeating the Night King thing. Um,
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait, dude.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be something.
And it's going to be something that we just have no idea because that's what they do.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So man, it's yeah. I can't wait. I'm stoked. I mean, here's the thing too. So within the next, uh, what what is it? 5 days now, till Game of Thrones, season
Yep.
8, episode 3, the Battle of
Hmm.
Winterfell, longest battle, longest recorded battle. I think in television history, possibly movie history, like possibly ever recorded. Um, we're gonna have that. And let's not forget that 2 days prior to that is the premiere of Avengers Endgame. Like, what
Yeah.
a weekend in movies and
That's
TV. Has there ever been a bigger weekend in entertainment?
not that I can personally think of. No.
I mean, that people are going to be this hyped for it. Like, Avengers Endgame quite possibly may be the most hyped movie of all time.
Yeah.
This
I
episode,
I think it would almost have to be.
I'll just say this season of Game of Thrones, quite possibly the most hyped season of television of all time. This probably being the most hyped episode, except for like probably going to be the finale. So most hyped episode of the most hyped season of all time. So this has got to be like the most hype going into a weekend of entertainment of all time. Like it just has to be. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
We're gonna have to carve out some
Definitely.
time next week to talk Endgame too.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. I mean, I plan on going to see it. So.
Yeah, you better. I'm going Friday. I just hope I don't get it spoiled from people who see it Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see it at 10, and I'm going to see it an hour away. So
Oh,
I'm not gonna get back to like 3,
yeah.
and then I work Saturday morning. So I don't care. Worth it.
Yeah. I think I'll try to go Thursday night.
Yeah,
That
absolutely
works.
worth it. Greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 11 years. I think is what I saw since
Hmm. Yeah.
that the MCU has been building toward this. So insane.
So
Well,
excited.
yeah. So I think that is pretty well going to do it. Is there anything else on your end?
Nope. That's it for me.
Well, cool. So we will see you all back here next week. Hopefully Monday. Um, I didn't get back here until later last night, so I wasn't gonna try to rush and do it last night. So we'll hopefully be back to our regularly scheduled programming next Monday. Thank you if you're hanging out in the stream. Thank you if you're watching this on YouTube. Yeah, we appreciate the views. Appreciate any feedback that you may have. You can either throw it in Twitch chat. You can see my Twitter, Instagram, YouTube on the screen now. Feel free to tweet at me or message me or whatever. Feel free to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch. I'm getting really close to a Twitch affiliate, so that would be super awesome. But yeah, so we'll catch you all next week.
Yep, we will see you then.